Okay, so today is the day. We're going to take the car out and we're going to heads up my modified slash stage 1 tune file against the original Ford calibration. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to do some wide open throttle pulls in 5th gear. Take that all the way out to 5.5 to 6,000 RPM. And then if we've got the space and we've got the time, I think we're going to do an 1/8 mile acceleration test. The first thing we got to do, which we've just completed, is we've got our swiper no swiping stock file loaded. So let's get the testing underway. I should mention that we are on 93 octane today. I like to cruise around or do most of my driving on 89 octane mid-grade, because it is 50 cents a gallon cheaper here. I don't make money like that. So while we're driving, let's get our data log going so that we can see when our knock octane modifier reaches that goal of 1. We are at 17 now, so that's not high enough. Now, if you want to speed this along, you do a couple of acceleration pulls, preferably in a high gear, 5th, 6th, 7th, something like that, at around 2 to 4 pounds of boost. And this will take advantage of the timing strategy that in the absence of knock, it bumps up the ignition timing. Well, that strategy also tells it when to move up in the knock octane modifier tables. The more it can move up without reaching knock, the higher on the other table it will go. Does that make sense? So let's put it into sport mode. Put it into 7th gear and give it a slight tug. It's amazing how deceptively quick these things are sometimes. Getting 5 degrees of additional spark, that's pretty high. Pretty good. Knock octane modifier moves to 62. I apologize about the shaky quality of the video. This is a Walmart mount stuck to a cell phone. Cell phones are heavy, and it's just going to be susceptible to vibration. We're getting close to our testing ground. The roads are pretty flat. It's 4 lanes of highway, and the traffic's pretty low. So the risk of me hurting anybody is very low. The risk of me hurting myself or my car is very great. But this is the risk we take in pursuit of truth and know-how. Now, if I said that I wasn't nervous, I would be lying. What if I'm slower? Well, actually that won't be that bad. The driving experience for me has improved, and I've learned a lot about what the vehicle will and won't do. And I haven't gone after power yet. All I've done is try to gain control of certain parameters. All right, so this is a good stretch. Nobody really around. 2,500 RPM, and go. We're going to use 2nd gear to start out because that limits the traction problems we're going to run into. Nice and flat, data log and running, everything looks good. 2nd gear, press OK to start, accelerate to start, 2,000 RPM, and go. Still spun. 1:35 was our time for that. We still got kind of a shaky start. And now, to load up my tune. Okay. Just wanted you to hear what this sounds like every time I do this. Get our data logger. Meep, mop, mop. 1. Bang. All right, so let's circle back around so that we can get the same location as before. That could have hurt. Glad I didn't hit that 2x4. Hello, Charger. Maybe one day I can run with those guys. 2,500 RPM. And go. All the way up, 6. Bang. Very good. Stopped. Second gear. Okay to start. Accelerate to start. 2,000 RPM. Go. Spin. Yeah, there we go. Slow down. All right. 9.17. All right, so we're going to keep our data logger on to keep a check on the car, make sure everything comes back down to normal, and I will see you guys back at the lab. Okay, we're back at the lab, and you'll notice that I'm wearing a different shirt. It's because it's a different day. Originally, when I had designed the testing protocol and I went out there and loaded up my supposed stage 1 tune, it wasn't. It was this test tune file. I had mislabeled it, so I had loaded it by accident. Well, today I had to go out and test the actual stage 1 file so that I could get some comparable data. The overall temperature of the day should be roughly the same. I did a lot of driving around, so the heat soak should be about the same. And I really don't have any excuse other than I need to take better notes. So without further ado, let's take a look at some data from yesterday. All right, this is the stock file. Let's see, what gear we in? 5th gear. We go full throttle. And wow. Let's see. So our desired load maxes out around 1.96 at 3,000 RPM, and our desired TIP is being overshot by how much boost we're producing. Is those for you all right? So as our actual shrinks down to meet our desired TIP, the throttle opens back up, closes again, opens back up, closes again right before the shift, and then opens up again after the shift. So there was a downturn right here in our desired load as we got up to 6,000 RPM. Now, what could have caused that? I'm going to say injector limit, exhaust temp enrichment. Doesn't look like our manifold charge temperature yet was hot enough to cause that, but you can see with those two right there coming in, it starts to shrink our desired load. Now, also on the stock file, go back, also on the stock file, you can look here, airflow, no, torque management. Compared to our stock file, after 5,500 RPM, it starts to try to shrink down to this load in between 5.5 and 6,800. So you can see it's going to draw a diagonal line between 5,500 RPM and 6,800 RPM. And somewhere in between there is going to be the intersection of 6,000 RPM. But we know it's going to be a reduced load from 2.18. It's an interpolation of those two data points. So it very well could be down to 2.09 or 2 flat or wherever it ended up, 1.98. That's plausible for that to be the interpolated slope. Let's see. Let's populate this right quick for our knock. Let's go to knock correction. So with our stock file, we're not getting any knock correction at all. So they've got their knock tables or their timing tables dialed for what kind of boost they want to achieve, which isn't bad. I mean, it's not terrible. We start down well below 3,000 RPM, get us a little bit of boost, and it climbs and it follows this desired load all the way through. I mean, tracks it almost exactly. And where it doesn't track it with this desired TIP, you see the throttle closing. And to be honest, it's not as noticeable as you would think. This is, I think, more noticeable just because you get that initial push and it's like, where'd the rest of it go? But as you can see, it didn't cause like a drop in boost or a drop in timing or a drop in perceptible power level. It was just an abrupt halt to that surge, and then it just kind of whisks you away down the line. All right, so here is the 8th mile push here. Come to a stop, second gear, get it up as close to 2,000 RPM as I could, and then we launch, we get a little bit of wheel spin, and then our traction control kicks in. Here we go. So you can see the boost is all over the place, and so is the throttle pedal. Open and close, open and close, open and close. Boost is up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. That's what I don't like about the stock file. Nothing wrong with it, really. But I like mine better. Going back to testing the proper file. Here is our 5th gear pull. And we start a little bit higher in the RPM range. This is just due to the road that I was on and the traffic allotment and everything else. This is just how it worked out. Boost curve is nice and flat. We don't get much over 21 pounds. We're right around the sweet spot of 20, and that keeps our manifold charge temperatures in check. We're around the same boost level as stock when it was at its peak, but as you'll notice, when we start to get a desired load decrease, probably due to manifold charge temperature, it starts to go back down. So it will track it, but the throttle blade's not controlling it. It's the wastegate, and that's really what I was after. I know these are backwards. We did the gear pull last. Check this out. This is the 8th mile pull here. Get down to second gear, 2,000 RPM, launch. We get big wheel spin there, and that is because this is the one that I kept having trouble with the traction control kicking in at the 3/4 shift, and then it wouldn't turn loose again. It would keep my requested boost level so low that it totally interrupted the 8th mile run. So we're going to go through this one first. We get a massive bit of wheel spin here, run out second gear, get a chirp on third, and then we get a gear shift here, and look at this. See, the throttle blade still will come in when you have too much of a boost spike. So there are absolute load. That is what's actually going on in the engine. Jumped up over desired load a little bit too high, so the throttle blade snapped shut, and then it opened right back up again when everything was back under control. Again, boost levels are not much over 20 psi throughout the entire run. Really only get up to 21.5 when we're in 4th gear, and it's under a pretty substantial load. Again, not much spark correction, so that's good. And our manifold charge temperatures throughout the 8th mile never really get over 140 degrees. I'm going to call that safe. You can see here our desired load is already starting to creep down due to increasing temperatures, so there's your safety built back in. And again, this run here, even with the massive wheel spin, got us a 7.1 8th mile run at 83 miles an hour. So it's an improvement over stock. So now I know what you're thinking. What does this look like on a dyno? Do I actually make more horsepower or am I making less? Well, some eagle-eyed viewers will already know what this is. This is desktop dyno. What this is going to use is the acceleration of your vehicle weight over time. So you have to have at least a close proximity to the vehicle that you're working with on a flat surface. And then you move this data over to that desktop dyno, and from its acceleration data, it will give you a horsepower number. Do I think it's as accurate as using an actual dyno? Who knows? I'd like to compare it just to see, but what I do know is that it gives me some data to compare and contrast a gain or a loss, a failure or a success. So, now you'll notice I've already saved a profile with the Mustang EcoBoost data in it. The curb weight, my weight, final drive, what gear it's in. That needs to be changed to 5th. It still recorded our peak right here. 265 horsepower at 5,300 RPM and 309 foot-pounds of torque. So 310 horsepower minus 20%, 248. Okay, so that tells us what it tells us. Looks pretty good. Stage 1. 5th gear. Ha! Look at that. We're actually making less torque. But we're carrying higher RPM, more horsepower in the higher RPM. So we went from 265 to 270, 309 foot-pounds to 293. Is that a discrepancy in the road? I don't know. Because it's showing it's making 309 foot-pounds at 2,800 RPM, and I make 293 at 4,000. So we're at a climbing torque curve, whereas this one is on a receding. But all in all, you must say, looks pretty good. So what accounts for the added acceleration? We just saw that we're not really making that much more power. I think the average power level is higher with our stage 1. Just from looking at these two, I would choose that one. Maybe an engineer likes this one more. I don't know. But for my purposes, the stage 1 file that I came up with suits me perfectly. Well, there you go, guys. What do you think? Do you think it was worth going through all of that testing and data just to end up with a few more extra horsepower? Arguably a loss in torque, but overall quicker through the 8th mile? Anyway, hit me up on Facebook at Facebook.com/The Daily American. Email me at da_racing@outlook.com for all things tuning related. If you want to hire any tuning services or have any general questions, send those to me there, or post in the comment section below what you would like to see happen with the car later on down the line. For right now, I think we're going to stick with this stage 1 file until we scrounge up some dollar bills for maybe a street core intercooler or full race version. Who knows? Give me a like and subscribe and ring the bell for instant notifications. We'll see you back here on the Daily American for another Daily American Racing Garage Moment. Peace.